I'm joined today by Dr. Dagmar Schafer, and she is the junior director, one of the junior directors at the Max Planck Institute in Berlin. So Dagmar, maybe you could just say a little bit more about the research that you lead there.
Yeah, maybe I should say something probably starting from the institute. This institute was founded 14 years ago after the German reunification as a presence given by the Max Planck Society, who mainly engages in natural sciences, to the academic world, I think somehow in Germany, but also internationally. And the purpose of this institute is to study history of science, broadly speaking. And my group has a specific focus, I would say, in the history of science and technology, on technology and on the region of China.
Now, in technology, global history isn't something everyone does, right? Not like in history. So could you say a bit more about how you think technology, the history of technology, can be linked somehow to this idea of global history?
I think there could be made a difference. There is a history of technology that is very global, and technology is employed by almost everybody who does history or history globally speaking in some way. That is because it's so easy if you have technology as a feature from the Neolithic up to the present day, talking of globalization. This is all connected to technology, environment, all this stuff. So technology is somewhere always in this history, but probably not at a prominent place.
But I like that very much, the point you make in your paper, that technology is how we determine where we are, right? Modernity is entirely based on a kind of technological supremacy or a kind of narrative that indicates that. So do you think that is sufficiently global at the moment?
I don't think that it should be global. I think the people think it is global, and this is a real difficulty. In contrast to whereas we reflected a lot about science and it being global or European or Chinese or wherever it had its roots and how it should be defined as a universal feature or as a specific one for each culture, I think technology still has this gusto, this taste of being, at least in its basic features, somehow everywhere in every culture. And this is something that also goes to every culture and standardizes and unifies us. Like, I think a very nice image for me is always when students come and they talk about technology, and I say it starts with a cup that is produced in every culture. This is technology, and it ends with a cup, McDonald's, used in every culture. And in some way, these are the features of technology or history of technology that always make an important argument in discussions on the global.
So there's this idea that technology is somehow everywhere and somehow part of every culture, and yet when we think about modernity, it's always Western technology that's used as a kind of measuring stick, right? Yeah. So I think one of the points you were making is that technology means something different in different cultural contexts.
Exactly, and I think this is also really very important, because once you're getting on this level, starting, or now how technology is discussed and you think of it, nobody asks what a technology in a specific culture was for this culture. A nice example for that, I think, is textile industry, which for some people is a means of power, and for some cultures, let's say, is a means of power and not just a luxury good. And then when we compare technology in these such technologies in these global contexts, we just merge it together and say, like, this is textile, all of them did silk, all of them did cotton. So how was the technology working globally? And I think looking at functions and technologies there must be a distinction between both in order to get a real idea about what we are talking about and what we compare.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it just shows that technology needs to be brought into the narrative, but hasn't really so far. So there's a lot of work to do in the field of global history.